as long as you're in the game, it's not about the age.
Nah.
Because my bars don't have no age on it.
Nah, they don't.
The hit record doesn't have an age on it. The 50 still don't in the club. While they talking right now, he's still running around like
Facts.
In the Club came out yesterday.
Facts.
And
Man.
so you just got to look at the process. I feel like it's just about work. Everybody else, when these kids say, "Man, you old," you want to be this age,
Right?
Or old. Like you would hope to make.
There's a
it.
maturity.
Like when we were getting shot, you was getting shot with 9s and 25s and 45s, and yeah, he's gonna make it. Now they hitting you with shit that's like
he may not make it.
He didn't make it. Like it's different.
It's different. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy June Archer here, the Winner Circle. This is 50.com. There's not much I need to say.
Yeah.
Philly representing. Home, making music, new record out. It's fire. And yeah, it's time for MK to run the city. Welcome to the show.
Thank
my
you,
man,
What's up,
Mike
man?
Knox,
How you
a.k.a.
feeling?
MK.
You already know,
my man,
man. What's
listen,
up, man?
off the scene, we've been talking, the energy is crazy.
Yeah.
I want to jump right in. We said everything is on the table.
Yeah, everything always.
I just seen you with my man Meek Mill.
Yeah.
Love Meek. What's that all about?
crazy.
What are we preparing for?
You know what it is like, for a long time, people always feel like the Philly energy is a little different from everywhere else as far as like, where artists get in position and do different things. They feel like we don't together, like you don't really see like too much unity or too much mobbing together and stuff like that. And I've been knowing Meek for a very, very long time. Like we actually from the same neighborhood.
Right. And y'all go back. This is history there.
We go like back, you know what I'm saying? Like before deals or any of that, you know what I'm saying? So that was just more so like we've been communicating a lot.
Okay.
Like, we be talking, you know what I'm saying? It's like, he's like, yo, bro, like it's time for us to really like show them what's up. Like let's let them see how we really do. Because there'd be a lot of people taking little shots at Philly.
Right.
That be thinking
On the low.
it's like, yeah,
On the low.
I be watching them. Like I be just wanting to bump into people.
So when you see that though, when you see the shots, whether it's, you know, the Twitter gangsters out there or just you hear people bumping their gums, like how do you feel? Like you feel like, man, like y'all don't understand, like we really do this in Philly.
Nah, I just be wanting to bump into people to see if the energy
Inadvertently or like
literally.
Literally.
I wanted to see if the energy is really like that type of energy, or is you really just, trying to try out for power or something.
Right. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I've had conversation with Five, and I've heard him say like, if don't talk it, because if I ask you to be a gangster right now, you don't do it, out of here. So don't talk that talk if you're not really about that talk.
This shit is documented.
So then we got to go around bumping cats.
I mean, because listen, here's the thing. It's like, it's about really getting money. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to be competitive, but I don't think people is more so concerned about being competitive anymore. It's more so about they're just disrespecting. Right? And now we're at a level now where everybody got kids, everybody got family, everybody's watching the internet. So when you say something about somebody, you gotta really stand on what you're saying and really mean what you're saying. And that's why you don't hear me on Clubhouse. Like I feel like Clubhouse is the feds.
Right.
I won't do it.
Ain't really trying to participate in
I was on there one time, and the one time that I was on there was completely early when it first came.
Right.
And I think like they had like Meek and a few other Philly people on there, and I said something that moment, and that was in a supportive way. But like just the things that be going on as far as the talks and the calling this person a rat and this person, it's just too much, and it's like that's not what it's about for me. You know what I mean? So I kind of stay away from all that shit.
So with everybody that's coming up in Philly, what are you and Meek putting out there in terms of the energy to let other artists know, like it's time to form like Voltron?
Yeah, it is, because it's like, even if you don't listen, it's okay if you don't click, like far as like you don't have to hang together. You don't have to just have a common ground, because at the end of the day, I mean, of course everybody knows that there was one point in time where there was issues with them and us, and it's like, for me, I'm in a position where my loyalty is never on the table. You know what I mean? It's always respected. So, with Five, it's like he knows that where I stand with everything. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is just like, if we bump into people, right? If I mess with you and you mess with me and my man and your man just don't get along, and we all bump into each other, respectfully, we should be able to control the room.
Right.
Me and you should be able
Correct.
to control the room.
Because that's
so
what,
that it don't
that's
go
what a
there.
chief does. That's what a boss does.
That's what a boss does.
Right.
And it's not about being a yes man. It's about, okay, cool, we got it. We all going these ways instead of just colliding, because you talking about a lot of money, you talking about a lot of people, and you talking about people's lives in Japan. You talking about dealing with serious people. Like, I don't take for granted anybody. You understand what I'm saying? But you're also talking about people that's going to stand on everything that they mean. And we really a serious situation out here. Like, we serious in every way, shape, or form, and people know that. And I don't take that away from nobody else, but I know what we capable of doing.
And there's a long history of music
Yeah.
in Philly, right? Philly sound. We could talk about Fresh Prince, a Bel Air, or we could talk about Will Smith.
Let's talk about what you really
about.
He smacked the shit. Sorry, no.
I mean, somebody bumped into him, and that's what happened. Literally, figuratively, and what is your thought on? We've known Will, because I've seen the interview. You're like, yo, this cat is like the Obama of Philly when he comes in. Like, cats lay out the red carpet. How did y'all feel? And you may not be able to speak for Philly in total, but how did you feel to see an icon from where you come from be put in a situation like that, and that was a result in all the backlash that's happening right now?
Two ways. One, I feel like he's taken a lot. A man can only take but so much, right? And people would say, well, he laughed at the joke. But I know a lot of killers that laugh before they do crazy shit.
Real talk.
So you don't know if that was his reaction. Like, so him doing it was just a buildup of everything. I don't think it wasn't about, yo, this is Chris saying it.
Right.
It was about just
compounded
right there.
Because I don't think people read his book. In his book, he talks about how he failed to protect people along his journey up to his mom.
But that's how he feels. It's no different than they say a lot of us don't have a father figure. Right. Like, and what we do, we go out in the streets and we look at other men as father figures until they show us to do something completely different that's not correct to be doing. And then it takes us all of these times to lose on that end to realize he doesn't care about me. And then that's when you see the young guys don't listen to the older guys because you're just using me. You understand what I'm saying?
Point.
So I think that's what it is for him. The flip side is no disrespect to their situation, because who am I to talk about their marriage? But on the flip side of things, even if she felt the way about what he said, what we should have seen was her
chill. I got you.
Or even after, even if she was in shock after he did it, when he sat down, he started, she's okay, it's enough.
Right.
There was no, because it's like that moment wasn't about, she didn't care about him in that moment. Because he put it all on the line.
So you make a good point there. Do you feel like as men, black men, that in that moment, like he didn't respect his queen, he didn't respect his woman in that moment, because she could have, like you said, bosses are able to control the environment, control the vibe. In that moment, do you think that she was unable to control him, or he just disrespected the fact that, man, I could have held my queen down right here without even getting up?
No, I think that it wasn't an option to control him.
Gotcha.
Nobody was there to say stop. The one person that I feel like that I know he was in the building, but I don't know how far away he was. I don't know if they had if they just had like all the celebrities, like actors on the floor to be able to go up, and then there are people in the back or up or whatever. But I know if Charlie Mack was there.
I was gonna say that.
If Charlie Mack was sitting next to him, that shit wouldn't have happened.
Different story.
He would have stopped him.
Right.
Now he probably let him smack him after, but
not here, not in this moment.
Not
live on television.
at that moment, I don't feel that he would have done that. He would have let him do that, because it's just, come on, you about to mess it all up. Like,
the whole bag.
Right.
For everybody though.
And watch, you people would say, well, he has all the money, he has all this, it's not about that. It's about his legacy and what he worked so hard to get. It's just like all our artists to say, everybody would be like, oh, the F the Grammys this, F that, but let you get nominated for a Grammy, you going.
Oh, you going.
You going.
First
You're going
class
to be right
tickets,
there with a
everything.
suit on, knowing you're not going to get it, but you're going.
real
So,
talk.
you know, I think that's just how I feel about that.
MK, take me to the top, man. Philly representative. What was the inspiration behind getting into rap? Because I've seen where anger management problems,
Yeah.
quick fuse, short fuse,
Yeah.
and you started to write. But what was the inspiration behind it? Like, who inspired you? What MC inspired you?
You know, it's crazy. Like, the MCs that actually inspired me was like Big, Pac, Coogee Rap, Rakim, Kane, people like that.
If you would have put one of those artists on your record right now, who would it be? If you could only choose one of those.
Out of all of them,
Yeah.
Big. Definitely Big.
Now,
Yeah.
take me to that session. Big, the Notorious B.I.G. and MK.
And I don't use no pen either, so.
And I'm gonna talk about that. That's a whole different story.
You know what I'm saying? I really don't use no pen. Like,
What kind of record is coming out of a MK Notorious B.I.G. session?
first, I think everybody would be upset. Like, how? Like, how? Him?
Him? Why MK?
Why him out of all people? But I think it would just be a street record. Just, I would try my best to keep up. You know what I'm saying? Because that is big.
That is big. And he got bars.
I would probably be writing my verse like 20 times in my head before I even let him hear it. But yeah, I would go crazy.
So let's talk about that pen game though. While you were doing time, I saw that you asked one of the guards, "Hey, can I get a pen? I just want to write something down." And the audacity of him to say,
Memorize it.
"Why don't you just memorize it?"
Yeah.
What do you have to say to that guard now? But in that moment, how did you feel? That was a defining moment, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, you're right. I would say now, thank you. Definitely thank you. Definitely thank you. And in that moment, I had so much frustration built up in me. Like, because at that time, this was before I even did my fed time. I was in the States at this time. Like, you know, I was on my own since I was 15 years old. My mother is alive, but I just wanted to be out in the
streets, yeah.
So, you know, I moved out and I started, you know, to provide for myself and do what I had to do. So, you know, in that process, it was like I didn't have nothing. So I had to find a way that would just keep me mentally sane. Because I got shot and I had a colostomy bag for 9 months, and you know, I was dealing with a lot of stuff. So anything I would think, I would want to write it down.
Right.
So each bar, I would just keep saying it. Just keep saying it. And I would keep saying the bar, and then I would go to the next bar, and the next bar, and I would keep saying it and saying it and saying it. And I would say it all through the night. And then I got so used to it.
It became a process.
Right, that it became a process. And when I got home and I got in the studio, I tried it, and it just was working. And it was the best thing for me. And I never, ever picked up a pen since then.
Colostomy bag, shot.
Yeah.
What, you talk about my motivation, right? You've been hitting us with that. What was your motivation in that moment? Getting shot, was there a shock? Was there, man, I gotta retaliate? Man, I'm angry. Man, like I gotta walk around with this bag. What were the feelings?
It was honestly, I got shot at a young age. I got shot at about, I want to say I was probably like 20.
But people feel like getting shot is cool. Like I want you to.
Nah, it wasn't cool at all.
Right.
And what made it worse was the person that shot me he was about that. It was like, he's liable to come back and finish the actual job that he was sent to do. Because he's a cleanup guy. That's what he's going to do. He's going to come and he's going to finish. You know what I mean? And that alone, on top of being shot, knowing what he was already capable of, made me say, no, I need a pistol. Because I gotta do it before he do it. At that moment, that's where I was at with it. And it was mixed with a lot of emotion, paranoia, it was a lot of things mixed with it. And it was crazy because, check this out. At the time when I got hit, my leg was bad from being hit. So I couldn't like walk completely.
Right.
Like I could walk, but this leg would give out at any time. And I was in front of my house. And I never told this story. I was in front of my house at the time, and I was wiping down my car. And I was like doing the tire. And I seen this car come up. And I knew the car. I knew it was his car. And by the time I seen the car, he was out the car. I said, fuck, this after I got hit the first time. I'm like, he got me. You know what I mean? Because he got the drop right there.
Right.
He got me. And my cousin is in the house, the music up loud, my gun is in there. I can't even yell to tell him to, yo, like he got me. And he like, no, I'm not here for that. Like, this shit was a mix-up that it wasn't supposed to go the way that it went. You understand what I'm saying? And at that moment, it was like, you know what I mean? Because this shit was so weird, right? It was so crazy that when they came to when I was in the hospital, the detectives came to the hospital, right? I mean, this public record. We were shooting back, right? And the detectives came to the hospital, my mother, everybody around me, and the detectives like, they poured the mugshots out. And I told him, get the fuck out of my room. Somebody in that room told him that. Because they had his picture. I said, get the fuck out of my room. I don't know what y'all talking about. He was like, I know that you could have, but you
didn't.
You didn't.
You had ample opportunity.
You could have went either way with this. And he said, you know, it's moments I seen you, I could have, you know what I mean? Because this is what he do. And we squashed it.
That takes a different mentality, MK.
Well, it do, because at the end of the day,
on
sometimes
both parts.
you got
both parts.
Yeah. And it had to be a trust factor too. And to this day, we like this. People would probably never understand it, but me and him understand it. You know what I'm saying? It's just different. He could have not been here, or I could have not been here.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he moves around now, and people don't even know what type of. He's one of them. He will really get you out of here if need be. So it's different.
So you get out. 50 pulls up on the block.
Yeah.
He sent you the Sprinter already. You home, got the chain, everything. Set you up pretty.
Yeah.
One of the things I love and respect about your journey is you went out and got it. You didn't ask for money. You didn't ask. Even when you went in, you're like, I don't need you to hold a bag for me. I'm going to hold this bag myself. I'm going to do this time.
Yeah.
But you come home, set up properly, and given an opportunity to make good on it, and you do it. And he comes on your block. What did that moment look like and feel like for you and for your neighborhood?
Yeah, it's crazy because I actually was just coming back from taking my kids to the movies. And when I got the call, I'm like, Ye called me. Ye like, yo, where you at? I'm like, I'm in the house. He like, yo, Five just called me. He about to call you. He told me he about to come see you. I'm like, what? What do you mean come see me? He like, he about to come to your house, nigga. He on his way. So I'm like, what the fuck he doing? Radio or something? What is he even doing out here?
Right.
Like, what are you? And then he called, nigga, I'm about to pull up. I'm like, okay.
Pull up where though?
Like, all right, right? And then the second call came in and I'm like, oh no, this nigga really about to
He's
pull. And I'm like, I gotta move. This shit about to get bad. You know, because I was like in the area where it was like.
And you was good.
Yeah, like,
I can move around without anybody knowing.
He changed that.
Yeah, you got to change the area code after that.
See a Bentley and a Lamborghini pulling on a block. It's
something
like
different.
Wait, hold on. Who's this? It just got different. And when we got in the car, we went to go eat, and he said, "You know what you got to do." You know what I mean? I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And then that's when I turned it up from there.
As a man, I want to talk about this, brother, because black men, we don't operate in a fashion that is always indicative of how we truly feel because pride and ego get in the way.
Right.
I want to talk about that moment when Five gets out the car and y'all embrace, right? In that moment, he says, "You know what you got to do." What does that feel when another black man embraces another black man to just make good? Like, bro, I got you. I need you to do this because you got a second chance. You got a second lease on this. Because some black men, brown men as well, we're afraid to say I love you. We're afraid to embrace it for what it looked like across the street.
No, that's real. I think people don't, like with me, I always look at it, for me, it starts from a core. It starts from, I always hear Steve Brody, who had a relationship with him first, and Tony Ayo, who played a tremendous, tremendous part in all of this. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll be forever loyal to all three of them. But with Five, it's like he knows my grind. He see what you think he don't see.
Right.
And I never wanted to be a liability to him. I never wanted to be the person that calls and you don't want to pick up, or the person that, what do we want now? So I always would go and make things happen, and I would move. What do they call it? It's one thing that we move on. It's called chain of command.
Right.
You know, even though I know I can call him and say, I want this done, I'll still call Jeremy or Renee, who's my brother. I call the people that is in those pockets, that does those things.
Right.
Because it's like you don't enable your friends like that.
Right. It's a system set up for you.
It's a system set up. You don't. You come to him with the big stuff, the stuff that you can't handle. That's like, bro, I need you for this. Like my situation with my case, he helped me with that. Like he didn't have to, you know. And I put him on the phone with the lawyer. Like, I want to speak to the lawyer because the lawyer's saying, yo, if he pays this, he don't have to go. So he said, yo, if he pays this, he ain't gonna go. But when the lawyer said it to him, now the lawyer ain't sure. And he looked up at me, and he gave me the look. Like, you want me to? Because he was going to pay it. He was going to pay it. It was crazy, but he was going to pay it for me not to go.
Right.
But it wasn't guaranteed that I wasn't going to go. And I looked at him and I said, no, I'm gonna go do what I got to do. And you know what I mean. So the whole time I was down, I call him for what? Like, what am I? So he's running around. He doing, you know.
Do what you're supposed to do.
I call. I speak to the guys at the office. I speak to Ye. I would speak to him.
Right.
But it's like he might get mad because I ain't calling, but I'm sitting down at this moment. And for a while, like I said, I wasn't watching this one, 106 in Park and all that. I wasn't watching nothing. I didn't want to hear. I didn't want to hear about. I didn't hear no rap.
Right.
Let alone don't play a G Unit record because I feel like I'm missing my moment.
You ain't even want to rap no more though.
I didn't. I was done. Like I was literally going to come home and get a job. Like I was done. I was going to be a normal, regular person, just take care of home, and that was that.
Yeah, not with a voice like that though, MK.
No, and it's crazy you said that because that's what kept coming to me. And it was like God was talking to me, I mean, through the nurse, through people coming through the jail, through letters.
That's your gift.
They like, yo, like, it's like there's no way in hell, you got to do something with your voice. And I'm like, maybe I do overdubs for movies or something, but I'm not doing music. Because I felt like at one point, like I was chasing something different.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wasn't really, my records could have been better than they were then. But I was so caught up in getting money that I didn't care. You know what I mean? I'm running around getting too much money. I didn't care. So, like, now it's different.
So, after spending some time with Five and how he moves, how has that transcended your growth and development as a boss and making sure that your chain of command follows suit in terms of what he's doing? Not really mimic, because that's Five. He's in a class of his own. But what have you learned that allows you to move in these spaces and places like a boss and take care of your people?
We treat everybody the same. Structure is everything. You got to have a plan. And you got to know your moves ahead of the move you're doing right now. Like, while everybody's listening to Run the City, I'm on something else. That's gone. That's done already. The video's coming at 3 p.m. That's gone.
That moment is
I'm on something else because you got to keep the ball rolling. Like, I think what really did it for me with him, it was that moment when he came to my house that certified a lot of things that I already knew, but I think to the world and to people, it certified something else different for them. I think the moment for me was he was going on a road for like a good 2 months. This is right before Corona hit. And I said, yo, I want to go out with you, you know what I mean, on one of them dates. He like, all right. So I took it upon myself. Well, this is a true story. I said, I asked the officer, I said, yo, send me the dates. He sent me the dates. Right? And it was like all of these dates of different states he was doing. I was booking my flight, my own flight, for every date to just meet him there. Right? And when the next email came through, my name was on each date for the flight. So I'm like, hold up. So I'm like, yo, what is this right here? How am I gonna meet them at each airport? They like, no, you on a jet with him. I'm like, jet?
That was an itinerary for the Clearport.
Right. So now I'm like, because I don't know what it is. You know,
Right.
I'm just coming. I don't know what this stuff is. So I'm like, he know about this? So they're like, yeah.
Did he approve it?
Yeah, I'm like, hold on. I don't want to think I'm trying to pull a move. Let me put the call in. I said, so I hit him, dog, they got me on the joint to get on the jet with you. He said, yeah, I told him to put you on there. So now I'm like, oh, shit. So now I'm like, oh, baby, we going up. So that moment was the real moment. When we got on the jet, that's when the real conversation happened with me and him. And we sat in the back of the jet, and he said, you know you got to take pictures and do videos and all this shit, right? Because this is your first time on the jet. You got to turn up. And that's when I started to really realize what position that I was in and how I had to really absorb everything. And that run we was on was probably like a month and a half. We was literally on the jet every day. Like every single day we were on the jet, going to at least 2 different states at a time. And just to see the movement and to see, you know, like people, they'll see the blogs that they put up of him and how he signs. He literally signs every bottle. Like there's no stamp, there's no, he comes in and signs probably 600-700 bottles physically every time he does one of those walkthroughs. And I'm like, yo, if he grinded like that at the position he in, who am I to not grind?
Right. He puts in the work.
Because he puts in the work. So, you know, that was the moment for me.
So moving forward, what does this mean for Philly? With all that Philly has gone through, come from, now we see you and Meek in pictures. What does this next project, what does this next record and video mean for the city of Philly as it pertains to music, hip hop?
Show your work. It's about really using your platforms and using these platforms for people to see us and know that we really got talent. You know what I'm saying? Like we really are supposed to be here. You know what I'm saying? And be respected. You know, we're not just like just holding somebody down or just being this person's what they say go for or ick ride and or whatever they call it. Like people don't understand. You gotta get in position some type of way.
Say that again, MK.
You got to get in position some type of way. I carry the luggage. I'm getting on the plane.
Right.
Once I'm on the plane, though, by the time the ride is over, I'll be in the front saying, pass the Great Poupon. Because I'm a hustler. You understand what I'm saying?
The mentality is we ain't moving like that. Not we.
Yeah,
there are
not
people that don't
like
move like that.
Yeah, and that's why for so long we've been stagnated as a city because so many people feel like, I'm not doing that. But you have to start somewhere. Everybody started somewhere. Look at we go back to Will. Jazzy Jeff, he just said it the other day. They say, yo, remember they was throwing me out the house on Fresh Prince? He said they used to literally throw me out every time to the point I got tired of it. He said because I was getting scars. I'm like, I'm not doing it no more. But that was the initiative he was willing to take, getting thrown out all of those times to stay on the show.
It's commitment. You got to be committed to the grind. You got to be
commitment. His house is big right now.
Oh, his house is.
Yeah, so you gotta.
He's sitting on acres.
Right now. So you gotta push, and I think in the city, like in Philly, we got so many talented artists. You know what I'm saying? We got so many people that are not in the position to speak up for themselves. You know what I mean? So it's just like we just want to be those guys. You know what I'm saying? We want to be those guys that people could come to and put people in position. You know what I mean?
We talked about Jadakiss. Is there another artist that you would love to collaborate with that you have not had the opportunity to work with as of yet?
I like Yo Gotti, ESTG, Moneybag Yo.
Moneybag Yo.
You know what I'm saying? 42 Dub, Lil Baby, and Dirt. Yeah.
Give me your top 5, dead or alive.
Top 5. Top 5, dead or alive, any era or just
Any era.
That's a tough one, man. Cause I'm gonna go back to.
Let's take it
I
back.
gotta put them in order.
Nah.
KRS One,
All right.
Big, Fifth, of course. You know I'm putting him
Okay.
in there. Jay, Pop. That's it.
Before I let you go, though, man, sitting on the back of that jet, what is the best piece of advice or gem that Five gave you that you could share with people who are watching and listening that they may be in a rut, they trying to figure it out? You know, we've been having a hard 2.5 years with coronavirus. The best piece of advice that you were given by Five that you could share with us today?
I mean, one of his famous joints is he ain't never had nobody to run to but to himself. So all you got is you. You got to push you. You know what I mean? And you got to motivate yourself. And I think that's what motivates me. Me being, you know, on my own for so long is like, if I don't do it, who's gonna do it? You know what I mean? Like you gotta push through it. If you don't push through it, you're just gonna be sitting there. Like if you just sitting there, who's making the money?
Right.
The bills gotta be paid. Like they'll see the cars, they'll see the jewelry, they'll see all this, but they don't know you gotta work hard for it. They just see it. So it's like you gotta push for it. So when you can celebrate and feel good about those things, you know what I'm saying?
You should.
Yeah. So that's it right there.
It's my man MK.
You already know.
Mike Knox, new record, new video,
Run the city.
out now.
Yeah.
Listen, MK, I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate
Keep
you
doing
too,
what you're
man.
doing, man.
I'm about to come up your side.
Oh,
ain't no-
let's go.
I'm gonna
Hard
turn
for
it up
stand
right
up.
now.
You
Come
already
on,
know.
man.
Peace.
Holla.